Hello, I'm David De Elena, a member of the Colorado Association of REALTORS and a member of the committee for the Colorado Industry TILA-RESPA Integrated Disclosures group that is comprised of the various industries that assist you and I in getting a real estate contract through to closing. Wanted to take a few minutes of your time today to discuss how TRID will impact our contracts and our consumers as we get ready to move forward. The little bit of the history of the TRID rules is that they were comprised or developed during the Dodd-Frank Act period when our mortgage industry experienced the challenges of 2008-2009. Those rules affect the majority of residential mortgages, but you may want to check with the lenders that you work with to see if the TRID rules do apply to your buyer. The rules are currently scheduled to take effect on October 3rd and will impact any applications after that date. The new disclosures that you'll be hearing a lot about are the loan estimate and the closing disclosure. Please be sure that you understand the loan application process since it is different from what we currently have. In order for a loan application to be generated, the lender will need the buyer's name, buyer's social security number, their income, an address of a property, the estimated value of that property, and the amount to be financed. That's different than what we currently see today and will result in the opportunity for a loan estimate to be generated once those 6 items have been obtained. The closing disclosure will replace the HUD-1 settlement in most cases, and that will be provided to the buyer no less than 3 days before the consummation or closing date. We're going to talk for a few minutes about best practices. The best practices are going to be a guide to help us develop a strategy to react to the TRID rules. They include broker owners establishing a specific policy or practice as it relates to the TRID guidelines. Agents, you need to make sure that you understand and know what those policies and procedures are as it relates to the TRID rules. We'll want to make sure that we're trained and informed. I would encourage you to talk to your fellow real estate professionals when you're in transactions to make sure that they've at least heard of TRID or watched this video. As you're visiting with your lenders, whether it's a buyer-selected lender or one of your preferred lenders, be sure that the buyer and the lender have TRID guidelines in place and that they're knowledgeable on what those challenges might represent in moving forward with the contract. The effective communication or being able to clearly communicate to all the parties, whether it's buyers or sellers, on the impact of TRID guidelines is going to be crucial, especially when we're dealing with multiple offer situations. Encourage your buyers to become credit approved, just not pre-qualified, prior to writing a contract, since this may result in the opportunity to close a lot sooner than a pre-qualification situation would be. Communicate and work with lenders to coordinate the appropriate milestones, whether it's loan objection, the loan application, closing, or even possession, to make sure that all the deadlines have at least the lender's approval that they can meet those milestones. Develop and understand the guidelines for communicating between the various parties. Is it going to be via email, phone, etc.? Set expectations that you, the realtor, will communicate to the lender and get a clear understanding of what the guideline or target date for a closing would be, so that you're not writing contracts and then finding out that you're going to have to draft and amend, extend due to a change or the lender being unable to meet that deadline. Make sure that you've got a good understanding on what's going on through the buyer contract process with the lender. Intent to proceed, loan estimate, closing disclosures. How are those things being delivered? And is the buyer receiving and responding to those items? Setting the loan objection deadline to ensure the buyer's earnest money is protected is vital, and you'll need to make sure that you've got as reasonable a time frame to allow for that, but also understanding in multiple offers that that could represent a challenge. Be sure that you have a strategy for that. As it relates to walkthroughs, there may be more than one under the TRID umbrella, the TRID rules. Specifically, you may have a loan objection walkthrough to verify the condition of the property, especially for any seller committed repairs that were negotiated as part of the resolution. So you may want to do a walkthrough at 7 days prior to closing, and then perhaps a final walkthrough to ensure condition has not changed just prior to the closing. This will allow you to communicate to the lender if there's changes due to concessions or things of that nature that might have occurred as part of the process. Discuss the possession date with the buyer so that they understand that that possession date could represent or be somewhat fluid as the lender's working through the TRID process, especially in that first 60 days, and that they don't leave themselves that they're closing on the 30th and they're hoping to get possession on the 30th and then something happens and now they're homeless. We want to make sure that that possession date has been discussed and there's a strategy to allow for any problems that might arise. Currently, you and I do experience changes to the contract. When those occur, it's vitally important that any amend extends get to all the responsible parties, whether it's title or lender, as quickly as possible so that those parties can react and adjust any documents, whether it's the loan estimate or the closing disclosure, as quickly as they become knowledgeable of those changes. The complete document, which is significantly larger than what we're talking about here in these few minutes, is available to you through the ColoradoRealtors.com website and was emailed to all licensed realtors, all licensed brokers on August 27th and provides you a link to these same best practices. Hopefully we've answered a few of your questions. The more knowledgeable you become in the process, the greater your chance of success. I encourage you to take a class to allow you to become even more informed than what this video will allow. I wish you the best of luck as we move forward into the TRID days.